Make sure I don't have a problem where I have to disconnect from VPN, but I'm good. Okay. Okay. Switch to this. It's down here. That. And grab this. So I'll say once the people get on, I'll explain. Not been having the best fortune recently, so it depends on how you look at it, I guess. But I've definitely been really doing well, having good things happen to me in general. But there are some things that have not gone my way with streaming and stuff recently. So yeah, okay, I don't need any of that. All right. Hopefully, got all of my chat windows open, so hopefully people do not have trouble communicating once they get on. I have unlocked exactly this many achievements on this game so far. So awesome. It's a good thing I'm not an achievement hunter. I don't know if I should have already or not. I really don't know what would have been an achievement. The only choices so far have been like obey mom or go outside, I think, right? No, even that I don't think right. I had the option of I don't think I had an option. I think I automatically went out when our mom said no. I could be mistaken, but I think we didn't have a choice really. We did some other things beforehand, but I think ultimately we ended up going outside anyway, regardless. So I'm gonna turn my fan on a little bit higher. It's like winter time. I don't want it to go like I don't want my heat too low so that it gets cold. But then at the same time, I don't know. Like in my bedroom, it's a little chilly at night, but when I am out here from my computers, because the heat the monitors give off, it's like, so I don't know. Not sure if one is really better than the other, to be honest. Well, give it a little bit. I'll just, I think here in just another minute or so, I'll just assume that people are late getting on. Or they have something else they're wrapped up in and they can't do it tonight, which, is fine too, of course. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. This is the thing where I had to. No, it should be fine. Make sure I didn't need to do a screen capture like I do with Black Mirror or something. Oh. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I get the invisible mouse pointer because of something. I really am not sure why this is affected this way. Why? That's incredibly. And I don't have. What happens if I choose windowed? Does that. If I do that, can I now? Now I can see the mouse pointer. All right, so we'll just do this not in full screen. I don't know what the deal is with full screen mode being weird like that, but that's fine. We can go practically full screen. No, stop. Keeps trying to make it like go full screen. I don't want it to. There, we'll just do that. Oh, that changed this though, didn't it? Okay, so let me just resize this a little bit then. So that it's. What? Oh, there we go. Just a little lag for it to. Here. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, it's a little weird. I don't know why it doesn't want to show me the mouse pointer if I'm full screen. That's very strange, but that's fine. We'll just do this in this mode. It'll be close, just no cigar to ideal. It'll be close. That's fine. All right. Okay. Load. Oh, there was this. How, let's see. 2348, 2357. I don't remember where we left off here. I remember he ran back to the house. I'm just gonna load this one. Let me grab the. I decided to take the lonely mitten from the branch. Vova. Shout rumbled across the field and dissolved into the distance. No echo, no hope for a reply. I stepped toward the bristly trees and tried to claim my find. It didn't budge. I pulled harder. The branch cracked and the mitten tore off, landing in my hand with a squishy sound. All too heavy. Wet. I squeezed it without thinking, and something dark spilled from it, forming a tiny string between the mitten and the snow. Is that a thread, or is that like description for blood coming out of it? Steam rose from the snow pile. Yeah, now I've got bloody hands. Stink. I froze in place, studying my palms in disgust. Red. The sound of cracking branches invaded the silence. I didn't have to think twice before running away. Someone was chasing me from the darkness, breaking pine branches, closing the distance with giant leaps. Snow was slowing me down. Crazy thoughts through my mind. I'll get caught. They'll get me. I'll get dragged into the thicket. I'll be gone forever. There was one more voice, probably one of reason. Gave me strength, spurred me on. You can do it. Don't stop. I heard an animal roar behind me. It was so loud my ears went numb. Felt like the sound had come from a pack of hungry beasts rather than a single one. Their nostrils sucked in freezing air. They sensed my fear. 2 giant wings flapped above my head. An enormous shadow flew over the clearing. A hoot, a wheeze. The roars were coming from all directions now. From the dried up raspberry bush, from twisted pines, from under the windfall. Hurry, run! Don't look back! Felt like I was inside a nightmare. The snowy clearing became viscous like quicksand. I was stuck in place. I pulled my leg from the mushy trap just to be caught in a new one, even deeper than before. I continued to drown, sinking deeper and deeper with every desperate push. Was snow ever this sticky? I screamed in horror after realizing this wasn't snow. Someone or something in the snow pile was clutching my pants. I gathered all my strength and rushed forward. The pressure on my leg was gone. My boot slipped out of the hole and my soles were on a hard surface again. I reached a clear path with one jump and from there ran to my house. Its gloomy facade didn't look threatening now. That house was my line of defense from the shadows that flapped their wings and the creatures that were hidden under the snow. I tripped over the doorstep and smashed into the door. In all my hurry, I still managed to notice the claw marks. As if a dog was striking the wood with its paws, demanding to be let in so it could escape the cold. I hadn't noticed these marks when I was leaving. The heartbeat in my ears was much louder than my surroundings. I couldn't hear whether someone was following me or not. What if they were already in our front yard and Mom had locked the door? Drowning in fear, I pulled on the doorknob and it obediently gave way. I rolled into the hallway and shut the door behind me. Porch planks creaked as my pursuers ascended the stairs. My fingers slipped off the lock and I couldn't click it into place. I gritted my teeth and pulled hard on the iron knob, whipping it between the boards. I stared blankly at the door. Someone was standing on the other side of the pitiful, flimsy barrier that was probably less useful than blankets. Wheezing breath reached into the house and crashed at me in waves. It smelled of pine and sweat. Mom peeked out of the kitchen and chastised me with the same frigid voice she always used when talking to Dad.
Что конкретно тебе не ясно в просьбе не хлопай дверьми?
What exactly didn't you understand when I told you never to slam the door?
Я случайно.
I didn't mean to. I snuck a glance at the door. The smell was gone, and the breath was too. If there was someone in the first place. Of course. Here, mere 5 meters away from Mom, my fear was slowly weakening, melting like snow in spring. With it, the last bit of strength I had left my body too. My legs gave way. I propped myself up against the wall so I wouldn't fall over. Mom's expression then changed immediately. The cold mask of strictness and detachment was gone. Mom looked the same as before all those quarrels. She finally saw my condition, my wet pants plastered with snow.
Ты где был? Я тебе что говорила, а? Чтобы ты дома сидел.
Where have you been? What did I tell you, huh? I told you, stay home.
Я и для тебя пустое место.
Am I nothing to you too? I got afraid she would cry. I reached out to her like when I was very little and wanted her to cuddle me. But Mom regained her composure fast and put on her usual face. Her eyes shined like steel. Her voice rang out.
У отца сигареты пропали.
Your dad can't find his cigarettes.
Признавайся, ты их стащил? Курить бегаешь?
Be honest. Did you snatch them? What are you smoking in secret?
Там за мной кто-то гнался. Я думал, меня...
There was someone chasing me. I thought... I stuttered as soon as I started explaining myself. Tears welled up in my eyes. Mom leaned toward me and sniffed my clothes like a beast, searching for the smell of tobacco. Then she squinted her eyes in suspicion and looked into the front yard. Her expression changed in an instant, and she covered her mouth with her
Гляди,
hand.
вон же они. Прямо у забора.
Look over there, at the fence. My heart started thumping as if I became prey once again, and my pursuers were following me in the field. I could swear that I've heard something scratch at the door, just like in my nightmare. Mom beckoned me with her finger, and I gathered all my remaining bravery to look into the kitchen window, facing my fear. I could barely discern some hairy silhouettes swimming in snow through the icy winter patterns on the glass. Dogs. Just a small pack of strays, with no name and owner, barely reminding of the hungry monsters that live on the edge of the forest.
Божечки, ты их испугался? Да они сами тебя перепугаются, Антон.
Oh boy, were you scared of them? I think they'd rather be scared of you, Anton.
Они гнались за мной, словно за зайцем.
They were chasing me, like a bunny.
А вдруг они бешеные?
And what if they're rabid? The smile had slowly disappeared from Mom's face. Now she looked at the dogs as if it was her first time seeing
Что если
them.
они нападут на Олю?
What if they attack Olya?
Мам,
Mom,
Вот бы твой отец их всех перестрелял.
I wish your dad could just shoot them all.
мама, они живые.
Mom, look, they're
А что?
alive. Huh?
Ты
What?
уж определись, они тебе друзья или враги?
Are they your friend or foe after all? Make up your mind.
Не маленький ведь уже.
You're not a little kid anymore. Mom sighed in annoyance, and I felt so bitter that I bit my lower lip and fixed my gaze on the cobweb-ridden corner just to keep myself from crying. Well, some detective I am. In reality, I wasn't risking my life among monsters, but rather my pants among a pack of stupid strays. What for? What use do I have for this? Mitten. Of course! A dark and sticky mitten that belonged to the lost boy made a squishy sound in my hand. Seems like I was clutching it the whole time. That's my trump card as a detective. I hurried to present this clue to my mom.
Мам, смотри, это Вовина варежка.
Mom, look! This is Volva's mitten.
Ну того, про которого утром милиция спрашивала.
That boy the police were asking about in the
Она
morning.
вся в крови, на дереве висела. Вон там, могу показать.
It's drenched in blood. I found it hanging on a tree. I can show where.
Давай в милицию скорее позвоним, как нас участковый просил.
Let's call the police right away, like the officer told us
Мам,
to.
гляди!
Mom, look!
Фу!
Ew. Shadow of doubt slowly crept onto Mom's contorted face, as if she was trying to remember something distant. Like someone tries to remember their dream. The images slip
А ну-ка
away.
прекрати сейчас же.
Stop it this
Оля тебя
moment.
услышит, с ума сойдет.
Olya will go insane if she hears
Она
you.
и так не спит. На все подряд жалуется.
She already has trouble sleeping and whines all the time.
Еще и ты со своими шуточками.
And you joke around like this. At that moment, I realized the mitten was actually wet from snow. There was no blood whatsoever. I wanted to sink through the floor from embarrassment.
Иди сюда, паникер.
Come here, my boy who cried wolf.
Да не стой столбом. Вот,
Ох.
таблетку на. Быстро
Don't
пей.
just stand there. Come, take your pills. A golden-colored pill reminiscent of a dead wasp fell into my palm.
Я уже пил сегодня, за завтраком.
I already took one during breakfast.
Попререкайся мне еще.
Don't talk back to me. Says talk over me, the other one. Don't talk back to me.
Сказала дома сидеть. Нет же.
I told you to stay home.
Был бы отец,
You-
выпорол.
Dad would have given you a good whipping for that.
Сейчас же выпей, а то ночью не уснешь.
Come
Тебе
on,
ведь в школу
take
завтра.
it. Or you won't be able to sleep at night. You have school tomorrow. So, I had to swallow the bitter medication, drinking it down with similarly awful water that gave off a taste of chlorine. Maybe it wasn't Vilva's mitten. Maybe it wasn't a mitten at all. Just like the forest monsters. And Olya's owl. Am I going mad? What's happening to me? Either the pill had an immediate effect or my overexerted brain didn't let fear inside anymore. Serenity washed over me, bringing yawny indifference along with it.
Антон, выпил? Можешь, если захочешь.
Anton, you done. See, you can do it when you try.
Раздевайся. Уснул, что ли?
Take off your coat. Are you asleep?
Нет, мам, просто задумался.
No, Mom, I was just thinking.
Интересно, о чем же?
What about, I wonder?
Так, глупости всякие.
Just something silly. Mom scrutinized me with suspicious eyes. As if she wasn't sure she was looking at her own son and not some doppelganger that came from the forest.
Точно все нормально?
Is everything all right?
У тебя такое лицо было, когда
You
милиционер
had the
про окно
exact same
спросил.
expression when the policeman asked you about the window.
Все нормально, мам.
I'm all right, Mom. She heaved a deep sigh.
Хорошо.
Fine. It seemed like the house had changed. The sofa's fabric had become discolored. Fingerprints appeared on the bathroom tiles. The light bulbs also felt different, dimmer and yellower. Even the saliva inside my mouth had a different taste. A melody from Aladdin could be heard from the upper floor, or from Aladdin, probably, right? Olya was done rewatching her favorite Little Mermaid episodes and switched to other tapes. Yeah, this would be Aladdin, just one L. That's fine. I slowly changed into my home clothes, stopped before the sink, and studied my reflection in the mirror, like I was trying to solve one of those spot the difference puzzles. Then I went upstairs. Jafar's and Iago's voices died down. I walked past Olya's bedroom and slipped into my own. Alright, so let's say what we hear with this. Okay. Monsters, ghosts, UFOs. The Encyclopedia of Paranormal Phenomenon from Rossman Publishing. I've heard about the Loch Ness Monster, Medusa Gorgon, and Bigfoot from there. Olya's always scared of the book. She could barely handle sifting through the monster and alien sections with me. But the middle part, where they started to talk about ghosts, really freaked her out. I even remember hunting ghosts after I'd read that book. I measured the distance between items on my table every evening and checked if they moved due to some supernatural force come the morning. They didn't. But to be honest, what was I expecting? To meet Casper the Ghost? Oh, that's interesting. Somebody back here. Is that Olya? Is that our imagination? The forest didn't look as grim during the day. Entangled trees, tree branches in the distance, and the snowy field between our house and the forest brought sleepiness to my eyes. But sometimes I would still catch myself looking in the window at the icy treetops instead of doing my homework. How strange. I remember moving this curtain. Okay, so nothing new when we do it a second time. I've dreamt of becoming an artist since Dad bought me my first comic book. Checking stream quality. Looks good. 0.04% frame drop rate, so that's not bad. Okay. Fly magazine was the coolest. I especially liked the big space related edition with alien monsters and that funny episode about a gendarme. Fly? Hang on. Oh, could I not roll back? Wait, you're supposed to be able to roll back with this. No, I guess whatever, but I missed that, so I don't know what that said. Hang on, let me look on the stream and see if I can find it there. Oh, it was just that I couldn't. I was gonna click the link or something like that, and I didn't. Wasn't able to. Okay, I'm less worried about it. It's fine. Wasn't that I missed text, it's just I couldn't roll back. Okay, anyway. So I started drawing all kinds of stuff since that day, and I seem to be getting pretty good at it. One of my letters even got published in Fly once. Maybe someday they'll even publish my comic? Do this. Is it just up above? Yeah, except maybe opening the drawer. My Triceratops figurine. I know all sorts of dinosaurs. Velociraptors, Afrovenators, Hypsilophodonts. I remember going to the movies to see Jurassic Park back when we still lived in the city and taking pictures with the T-Rex in the hall. It turned its head and roared. It was awesome. And next to it was a Robotech Transformer. I love this cartoon. When a jet fighter speeds up when a jet fighter speeds up in the intro among the sounds of blaster fire, you know your next 20 minutes will surely be amazing. Zentradi space station is captured. Rick, get ready for battle. I think that's everything, right? So we got up there, we got there, we got there, got here. There's nothing lower. Or on the side here. Nope, doesn't look like it'll get open. One of the drawers was empty. I hid the mitten there. Where are you, Vova? You obtained a mitten. Okay, I got my first woohoo achievement. This simple action drained the last bit of strength from me. I sat on the bed, and only then I noticed there was someone behind the curtains. My tired hand dropped to the sheets. Whether it was due to medication I took or the stress I underwent, the room began to contort, as if the wind was blowing the walls out like a pair of sails. The corners of the room bent and undulated. The only stable thing in the whole room was the figure between the windowsills and the curtains. A flimsy piece of cloth was stuck to my hidden visitor. It reminded me of burial sheets.
Оля?
Olia? Who else would be standing there? I stood up and licked my dried up lips.
Оля, очень смешно.
Yeah, Olia. It's so funny. The silhouette was unmoving. It was enveloped softly by the curtains, as if there was a thick layer of darkness there. Not a human being. I reached toward the curtains. But beat my heart, controlled by medication. Yeah. wind sang in the field with a chorus of voices. For a second, I wanted to return to the bed, just lie down and watch the person behind the curtain, knowing full well they were looking back at me. They're looking without blinking, waiting for me to fall asleep. Plastic rings rustled against the holder when I pulled open the curtains.
Попался!
Gotcha!
Да я сразу понял, что это ты.
I knew it was you from the beginning. A blindingly bright halo lit up above Olya's head with the setting sun as the background. My sister was shining. When she was just a baby, Dad always used to say she was shining with happiness. I always retorted, but Dad, she's not some flashlight. But I brought her to the window one day and sunlight poured on her smiling face. I felt like I was holding a light-woven child.
А я все видела.
I saw everything.
Да ну,
Oh, really?
что ты спрятал?
What did you hide? She was just like my mom when she was little, before she put on her sad mask of tiredness and switched to her commanding tone of voice.
Ничего, просто...
It's nothing, just Olya ran up to the table, her eyes round, and
Ты
asked,
что-то украл и теперь прячешь?
You stole something and hid it in here? Are you a thief?
Что? Глупая.
Don't be stupid.
Ничего я не крал.
I didn't steal anything. A clear image came to mind, that mitten hanging from a tree branch. What if I did steal it, after all? From the forest, from the tilted figure, standing behind black trees? Olya could be selfish and stubborn when she wanted.
Покажи тогда.
Then show me.
Поклянись, что никому не скажешь. Тогда
Swear
покажу.
that you won't tell anyone. Then I'll show you. Olya wore a plotting smile. Hey, Silhouette, welcome. Hey, Fo Fox and Silhouette both, welcome. So let me pause this temporarily. Okay, so we're doing Tiny Bunny tonight, and there's a very, very big, good reason for that. I thought my monitor had gotten better. Today, within fewer than 12 hours from each other, my monitor turned off on its own, just randomly decided to shut off. And I had to go over to the side monitor where I have my streaming stuff now and hit reset to have my monitor turn on again. Well, what happens if I am trying to hide from spirits in Song of Horror and I have to calm my heartbeat and suddenly it goes black and I can't see when I'm supposed to calm my heartbeat? And that game's permadeath. So I need to take my monitor in this coming week and get it replaced, because I've done everything I could think of, from telling Windows never to sleep, not doing any kind of power saving mode because it's plugged into outlets and uninterrupted power supplies and stuff. So there's no reason for it to go in power saving mode, right? So I just, there's literally no reason that my monitor should just shut off on its own randomly. There's no reason except that it's not working correctly. So this next week I need to take my new monitor. Well, now it's like a couple months old, but basically my new monitor, I need to take it back in and get it looked at and have them figure out what the problem is and either fix it or more likely just exchange monitors. So I get a replacement and I bring that back. So I didn't want to risk anything this weekend that would have like a timing thing and then I could get somebody killed or whatever. So for that matter, we're not even doing Amnesia the Bunker. We're not doing, St. Rhodes, Lunacy, nothing like that. So I figured this, because it's just a click for choices. Worst case, maybe there's a cut scene and I missed part of a cutscene, which would be annoying, but it would not be a problem for the actual playing of the game. And what else? And then Black Mirror is the next stream will be Black Mirror 2. That's not going to have a problem if it goes suddenly dark. I mean, it again will be a little slightly annoying, but it won't be the end of the world. And then tomorrow night we're going to do Stasis Bone Totem, which is a point and click. So other than cutscenes, it should not matter if the monitor suddenly goes dark. So that's actually kind of annoying because, you know, I wanted to keep going on Song of Horror because there's like supposed to be 5 episodes and we're still in friggin' episode 1. Because I keep having, like, last week I was away and then this week I have the problem with the monitor. So it's not awesome, but I mean, it is what it is, right? Anyway, and so I thought Tiny Bunny would be a good one for tonight because of that. Just as an FYI, and I'll put this later in Discord for you, Faux Fox, and anybody else who's there. But so this weekend and next weekend, I will be streaming like normal. But then Christmas weekend and New Year's weekend, I will not be streaming. So we'll stream this weekend and next weekend. Then there'll be 2 weekends off. And then we'll be back on normal schedule. I'm flying out on Wednesday the 20th to go visit my brother and his wife for the holiday. And I will be flying back. I'll actually be flying, like my plane leaves at something like 5:30 in the morning. So I'm gonna have to like leave my place at like 3 a.m. So that's let's see, 5:30, 4:30. Yeah. I'll have to leave my place like 3 a.m. So I'll have to get up at like 2 a.m. So that'll be fun. So I'm going to go to sleep at like 7 the night before, try to sleep as much as I can. Anyway, so so the 20th, and then I'll be coming back the 30th, but it'll be like I'll land in the airport something like 8:30 or 9 p.m. So I won't get back in time for the stream on that night either. So next 2 weekends, 10 days. 10 days. I'll just miss 2 weekends of streaming. Right? So I leave on Wednesday the 20th. So that's Wednesday. So then the 22nd and 23rd, when I would normally stream, will be skipped. Right? Then I'm gone all the next week. So the 29th and the 30th will be skipped. But I return home after the stream would have started on the 30th. So, yep. So I've been thinking about it. I don't think so. I still don't think I will, but there's a slim, like a very small chance I might still stream on the 30th. Because I might just start my stream like an hour and a half later than normal or something. But most likely, no. Most likely just count on no streaming. For sure, no streaming on the weekend just before, or the weekend of Christmas Eve. Okay, so the 22nd, 23rd, no stream. And then just assume, unless I say otherwise, assume also the 29th and 30th, no stream, okay? But then January 5th and 6th, we'll be back in a normal streaming schedule again. And on January 5th and 6th, or on January 5th, I should have replaced my problematic monitor by then. I mean, I should have replaced that by next weekend. So there should no longer be a delay. So next weekend, we should be able to do more Song of Horror. And then the weekend that I return, well, not the first weekend in January, I should say, we'll do Song of Horror again as well. So we'll be back on schedule for that. So I apologize for the interruptions. I know things have with the holidays and then this just deciding to just die on me suddenly. It's not okay. So anyway. Okay. And it also, by the way, does not have anything to do with whether I'm actively using my computer. The second time it happened today, the first time I had gotten up and I made myself, and like the monitor was on, and I went and made myself breakfast and came back and the monitor was off. The second time it happened, I was in the middle, I was like doing my normal day job, working during the day. I was typing on my keyboard, and while I was typing, suddenly I couldn't see what I was typing anymore. I was like, That second time was actually the one that made me, when I was typing, I couldn't see. I was like, how am I supposed to be able to do anything on the screen if I can't? And then I go, oh, Song of Horror. Suck. What if I get my guys killed because I can't see anything? So, anyway. So there you go. All right. Olya wore a plotting smile.
Клянусь маминым сердцем.
I swear on Mom's heart. An oath she heard in one of the movies about the pioneers we've watched. I, pioneers. This is the last one. I forgot that you have to click the I. So this is the last one that I missed. So that Fly magazine, the first Soviet and Russian periodic adult comics magazine, extremely popular during the crazy 90s. What made the magazine stand out was the refusal to use material from its foreign counterparts. Okay, and then this is what? An oath she heard in one of the movies about the pioneers we've watched. Okay, so in this case, pioneer movement, an umbrella term for communist children organizations existing around the world, somewhat reminiscent of the Scout movement. I see. So the pioneers are like the Scouts, but like communist children, I guess. Okay.
Не говори так.
Don't say things like that. Olya nodded and made a gesture with her hand, locking her mouth with an imaginary key. She was filled with curiosity that was splashing in her giant eyes. I opened the drawer. Olya leaned in, holding her breath. It looked like there was not just a simple mitten, but some sort of exotic critter.
Это чья-то варежка?
Is this someone's mitten? She said that as if she couldn't understand what she saw. Oh, right. Also, a very tiny pause. Since I'm continuing Tiny Bunny tonight, right, because of what I explained, when we finish Black Mirror 2, as soon as Black Mirror 2 is done, we'll continue with this. Yes, I've checked my connections. They're all fully seated. Like, the cables are fully seated on the, what do you call it? Not tongs. What do you call them? Anyway, like the metal. Why am I having a brain fart? You know what I'm talking about. Hang on. Yeah, I want to say they're like pins, but I feel like there's a more technical term for them. You know what I mean, though. The metal parts that actually plug into outlets and stuff, right? Like if you have a male connectors plugging into a female outlet, the pins or whatever that actually go into the wall. Anyway, so I've checked, but now think of that, but in computer terms, right? So I've checked the connector, the female or the male connection that's on the back of my actual computer box, right? My computer case, and the monitor cord going directly into it. And then I made sure that it was also solidly in place on the monitor itself. Yeah, I can't figure it out. The other thing is too, if the power connection were like loose, because of how that is, it's not the same as like with a light bulb or something. So if there's a connection like on a power cord that's loose, and so it slips and it turns off, it will stay slipped off. It won't like wiggle itself back on. So resetting over on this other monitor, resetting the one that turned off would not make it go back on, right? So it's like the main monitor turns off. I use the software that came with the monitor to manage brightness and stuff, right? So big monitor, my main monitor turns off. Then this other monitor over here where I do live stream and stuff, I go over to that one and I right click to open my controls for the monitor that just turned off. and I reset it there. And as soon as I say reset, the big monitor goes on again. That would not happen if the power cord were a problem, right? So, but yeah, I mean, that is a good idea. And that I did check that. Yeah, but I don't know. I just think I have a faulty monitor. This particular monitor happens to have some flaw in it. And it also would not have to do with overheating, because I thought that too, right? Well, maybe it overheated or something. Maybe there's a problem with regulating the heat, and maybe that's the flaw in the monitor. Still would mean I'd need to replace it. But I felt the monitor did not feel hot. Also, hitting reset right afterward would mean the monitor would go on again. If it was a problem with overheating, it would only last a few minutes and it would turn off again, right? But it doesn't. It lasts hours, sometimes days, and it'll go off again. So it's really, I don't even know. I'm not even going to pretend to be a monitor expert. I just, the very basic logic stuff that I can do, there doesn't seem to be anything that would cause a problem. So I think it's just a faulty monitor. Anyway, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it's just this one night that I'm going to do that. I'm going to take the monitor and exchange it next week. So sometime during the week when I don't have to have it plugged in and stuff, I'll take it, I'll swap it, and then we'll bring a replacement back, and hopefully that one will be okay. Yeah, so she said that. And then she said that as if she couldn't understand what she saw.
Один мальчик потерял. И сам потерялся.
A certain boy lost it and got lost himself.
Теперь понимаешь, как опасно гулять в лесу, особенно детям.
Now, you do understand how dangerous it is for kids to wander into the forest, right?
Ему, наверное, там очень холодно.
He must be really cold out there.
Его найдут?
Will they find him?
Обязательно.
They will.
Участковый по домам ходит, всем фотографию его показывает.
The police are going house to house, showing his photo to everybody. Olya traversed the room with care and pressed her tiny palms against the window.
А почему он по домам ходит, а не по лесу?
And why are they going to the houses and not the forests?
Боится?
Are they scared? The question caught me off guard.
Милиционеры ничего не боятся.
The police aren't scared of anything.
И лес они прочесали.
They've already scouted the forest. Yeah, right. Flashed in my clouded mind. Did they really check every nook and cranny where darkness, cold, and whispers of icy branches dwell? If that's the case, how did they miss the mitten? Or did it appear later? For me? I changed the topic. As if trying to get Olya as far away as possible from the forest
Если
thicket.
я сам найду пропавшего мальчика, нам, может, награду дадут.
We may get a reward if I go and find this boy by myself.
Кучу всякого, как в поле чудес.
A lot of stuff. Like in the Wheel of Fortune.
Клево же.
Sounds cool, right? But Olya wasn't listening to me. She was piercing the forest with incredibly adult eyes. Uncharacteristic for her.
А что, если эта сова его утащила?
What if the owl got him?
Ерунда. Не может
Nonsense.
сова поднять человека.
An owl won't be able to lift a
Ну
human.
вот что...
But you know what? I was picking my words with utmost care. I forced them out of my overexerted brain.
Ты в лес не суйся. Мне кажется, он какой-то...
Stay away from the forest. I
Как бы
think it's...
сказать, проклятый, что ли.
How should I put it? It's cursed or something.
Как в сказке?
Just like in a fairy tale.
Нет, скорее, как на той страшной кассете, что
Но.
родители прячут.
More like in that spooky tape our parents hide from us. Olya shivered, stole a glance at the window.
Я видела, как ты убегал.
I saw you running
За
away.
тобой кто-то гнался?
Someone was chasing you.
Нет, просто, чтобы мама не волновалась, спешил домой.
No, it's just... I was hurrying back home so Mom wouldn't be worried. As I looked at my sister, my heart was tearing apart. She was so fragile. It was so easy to stifle her light. A gust of wind, and her small fire would be gone.
Хорошо тебе.
You're lucky.
Меня вот мама не пускает даже на крыльцо.
Mom won't even let me go
Как
outside.
принцесса в башне сижу. Никуда
I-
не могу выйти.
I'm like a princess in the tower. Can't go anywhere.
Так и умру тут от скуки.
I'll die from boredom here.
Не придумывай.
You're
От
wrong.
скуки еще никто не умирал.
No one has ever died of
У тебя
boredom.
же есть я и мультики, а мама с папой скоро помирятся.
And you have me and your cartoons. And mom and dad will be good to each other soon.
Знаешь, что бы я загадала на следующий день рождения?
You know what I would wish for on my next birthday?
Чтобы родители тоже в детей превратились. И мы бы все вместе играли, как раньше.
I'd wish for mom and dad to turn into children so we could go and play together like we used to.
Ага. А если бы они стали размером с жука, то мы бы их в спичечный коробок посадили.
Yeah, and if you'd make them as small as bugs, we could place them in a little box. Olya giggled and tugged at my sleeve.
Тоша, пойдем Аладдина смотреть.
Tosha, let's go watch Aladdin. Fatigue went over my desire to be with my little sister. I was washed over by some sort of heinous apathy.
Вымотался я. Что-то не хочется.
I'm too tired. I don't want to.
Ну пойдем.
Come on.
Мне скучно одной, а мама занята все время.
It's so boring alone, and mom is always busy.
Можно выбрать другой мультик, который ты еще не видел.
We could pick a cartoon you haven't seen before.
Да я все наши кассеты наизусть знаю.
I know all of our tapes by heart at this point.
А вот и не все. Ты Питера Пэна не видел.
Not all of them. You haven't watched Peter Pan.
Помнишь, ты уснул на середине?
Remember how you fell asleep in the middle of it?
Там потом такое.
And so much
пойдем.
happens after that.
Пойдем.
Let's go. Let's go.
Давай попозже.
Maybe a bit later.
Рассказать тебе, чем все закончилось?
Should I tell you how it
Утром
ends?
расскажешь.
Let's leave that for tomorrow.
Утром не захочу.
I won't tell you tomorrow.
Придумала. А давай
I
в
know.
прятки.
Let's play hide and seek.
Нет, Оль.
No, Olya.
Тогда нарисуй мне динозавра.
Then draw me a dino.
Оля, блин.
Olya, please.
Нарисуй, нарисуй.
Try it. Try it.
Да оставь ты меня в покое!
Leave me alone already. I blurted it out without thinking. And then I was immediately taken aback. I'd never screamed at my little sister like that. Olya stared at me in shock. Her lips started trembling, a precursor to tears. My chest was seething with disgust and embarrassment. What's happening to me? I hurried to prevent Olya from
Ладно,
crying.
уболтала. Давай смотреть мультики.
All right, you in? Let's go watch cartoons for a bit.
Уже не хочу.
I don't wanna. I came up to her, put my hand on her soft head.
Пойдем.
Let's go.
Питера Пэна посмотрим.
Let's go watch Peter Pan.
Ага, ты опять уснешь.
Boo, you'll fall asleep again. I smiled and lifted her chin. Her eyes were wet, felt bottomless.
Не усну, обещаю.
I promise I won't.
А потом я тебе целого трицератопса нарисую.
And I'll draw you a full triceratops later.
Ура!
Hooray!
Попса!
Triceratops!
Ну, почти.
Well, close enough. Olya rubbed her eyes with the sleeve of her pajamas, and a shining smile returned to her face.
Давай ты пока кассету перемотаешь, а я у мамы попрошу сгущенки с хлебом.
I'll go ask Mom for condensed milk and bread, and you rewind the tape.
Только утром свежий привезли, как ты любишь.
The bread is fresh, just how you like it.
Неси, только аккуратнее, а то разольешь.
All right, just be careful not to spill
Опять
the milk,
ругаться будут.
or you'll be yelled at again.
Спорим, не разолью.
Wanna bet I won't spill
Кассета
it?
где-то в тумбочке. Поищи пока.
The tape is somewhere in the nightstand. Go look for it. Olya disappeared into the doorway, and I dragged my feet into the neighboring room. All right, let's see what we can look at. A piggy bank. Olya is saving money for a real puppy because Dad said that taking care of him will take a lot of money. Olya has countless toys. An old teddy bear is the main attraction here. Olya doesn't sleep without it. And she digs her nose into its fur when she sleeps. Oh, so she like buries herself into it. It's cute. So I could turn that on. We've looked at this. There's that over the window. I don't see anything else. So we'll do the window and then turn it on, I guess. The scary window where Olya sees that accursed owl every night, lurking in the dark. Olya keeps curtains open during the day, but as soon as the twilight comes, she shuts them tight so she won't see the pair of hungry eyes outside. The old Photon TV was gathering dust in the corner. Photon must be a brand. Probably, it's going to be at least a, what do you call it? Cathode ray tube TV, right? But I don't know if there's an earlier version or not before that. Anyway, the old Photon TV was gathering dust in the corner. All that was left was clicking the button on the front panel. The tube warmed up and familiar white noise started dancing on the black screen. I almost reached out to turn on the VCR when the noise calmed down and a blurry image appeared for a moment. It was a dark Tasia forest, just like the one outside my window. The picture split the screen in half. Something creepy resembling human speech was coming out of the speaker. Just a few moments later, the scenery was again overshadowed by noise. Did it catch some rogue signal? Local TV station only really showed Soviet cartoons, and even that was pretty rare. And only just recently, I used to always watch Robotech before school. It was so awesome. Maybe I should tinker with the antenna? What if I catch this channel again? On the other hand, Olya asked me to find the tape. It wouldn't be nice to disappoint her. But in my sleepy state, I didn't have the strength to do all of it. Alright, so am I going to try to fix the TV and see more on the signal? Or am I going to find a tape for Olya? The curious part of me really wants to adjust the TV. But I know she's just a character, but role-playing wise, the empathetic side of me, or sympathetic side of me, whichever you want to say, makes me want to just look for a tape and make Olya happy. Let's just search. I sifted through the shelves full of dolls and blue hippos for Kinder Surprise. I found the tape I needed thanks to its shabby spine. I got the black rectangle from its box. Neverland, you spent the evening with your sister. Achievement. Okay. The tape inside it rustled while rewinding to the beginning. This rustle was lulling me to sleep. Drowsiness attacked me while I was squatting before the TV. Images whirled in my head. Me and Olya flying above the forest, tumbling in the soft clouds. My little sister's laughing, but her smile becomes more and more forced with every passing second. I noticed that the clouds underneath us part, bearing the bristly pine tops. Swampy darkness slurped among the trees. The wings are no longer able to hold us and
Ты не
Olya.
смотришь без меня?
You haven't started without me, have you? My sister brought the tray with unevenly cut bread and a whole can of condensed milk. A whole can? Ah, it's condensed. Olya, you're going to seriously drink that whole thing? Okay, then. I
Нет,
rubbed my
садись.
eyes. No, come, sit.
Мама с папой опять ругаются.
Mom and Dad are
У
arguing
них сейчас
again.
период такой.
They're going through rough times.
Глупый какой-то период.
Rough times are lame. On the screen, Wendy was hiding Peter Pan's shadow into the dresser. Olya was entertained by the cartoonish dog Nana.
Может, и нам родители собачку купят.
Maybe mom and dad will buy us a dog too.
Ага, как же.
Yeah, right.
В Небыляндии у меня будет своя собственная собака. И
I'll have
кошка,
my-
и
I'll ha-
попугайчик.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there, Olya. I'll have my own dog in the Neverland, and a cat, and a parrot. Olya smeared a slice of bread with a thick layer of condensed milk and handed it to me.
А у тебя все молочные зубы выпали?
Have you lost all of your baby teeth?
Конечно.
Obviously. Olya frowned deep in
У
thought.
Питера Пэна зубы молочные.
Peter Pan has baby teeth.
Вдруг со взрослыми зубами тебя не пустят в его страну?
What if they won't let you go to this land with adult teeth?
Мы что-нибудь обязательно придумаем.
We'll think of something.
Попросим папу исправить тебе возраст в паспорте.
We'll ask Dad to alter your age in the
С
passports.
чего это папа будет документы подделывать?
And why would Dad forge documents? Olya took a bite from the sandwich and started talking with her mouth full.
Будет. Мама говорила, что он так делал. А я подслушала.
He will. I heard Mom that he did that before.
Смотри, уши вырастут, как у Дамбо.
You'll grow ears as big as Dumbo's. Olya got worried and touched her ear. I smiled to myself. My little sister was silent now. She just devoured bread, watching the adventures of Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, and James Hook, as if she got sucked into the fairy tale Neverland. To be honest, I also imagined myself there, in a land where one never ages, where no one argues over little things, where no one listens to fights and the sound of broken plates at night. It felt like I was dreaming with my eyes still open. Then my sister's scream pulled me back to
Тоша,
reality.
скорее, штору задерни!
Tosha, shut the curtains
Зачем?
fast!
Никто
Why?
же на тебя не смотрит.
No one's watching you.
Уже темно.
It's
А когда
dark,
темнеет,
and when
прилетает
it's
сова.
dark, the owl comes.
Я
I'm-
боюсь.
I'm scared. I got out of bed, fighting my drowsiness, and closed the curtains. Yeah, you see this right here? What do you want to bet it's like an owl eye? Or maybe not. I did my best not to look outside, toward the treetops, toward the Teja forest, which seemingly drew closer and closer. I was expecting it to show you kind of approach the curtains, and then suddenly something, or whatever, but I guess not. Maybe if you didn't click close, you clicked the eye, I don't know. Anyway, I did my best not to look outside, toward the treetops, toward the Teja forest, seemingly drew closer and closer. Yeah, I read that. Okay. Of course, it was just a visual effect from shadows of branches scraping the snow.
Тоша, мама думает, что я напридумывала про сову.
Tosha, Mom thinks I made the owl up.
И папа считает, что раз я маленькая, это значит врушка.
And Dad, too, thinks I'm a liar since I'm small.
А сова есть.
But the owl
Вот
exists.
честная-пречестная, есть она.
Honestly, it does.
Ты же мне веришь?
You do
Что
believe me,
Там
right?
каждую ночь прилетает и...
That it comes every night, and... I swiftly grabbed Olya's hand and looked her in the eyes. I was trying to transfer at least some of my courage and determination. But did I really have those
Я тебе
qualities?
верю, слышишь?
Yes, I believe you.
Ты
all
только
right?
родителям больше не рассказывай про сову.
Just don't nag our parents about it anymore.
У них и так хлопот по горло, они только рассердятся.
They're already dealing with a lot, so they'll just get mad
Ты
at
мне
you.
говори, если что случится.
Come and tell me if
И
anything
в окно не
happens.
смотри.
And don't look out the window.
Но она хочет, чтобы я смотрела.
But it wants me to look.
Перехочет.
Doesn't
Притворись,
matter.
что ее нет и не было никогда, что она выдумка, как родители говорят.
Act like it doesn't exist and never existed. Like it's made up. Just like Mom and Dad
Ей
say.
ждать надоест, она улетит.
It will get tired of waiting and fly away. We followed Peter. We followed. It's not him speaking, so I don't need to do the voice. We followed Peter Pan's adventures as if nothing had happened, as if the forest did not kidnap kids, as if our parents weren't tearing each other apart bit by bit. Captain Hook was running away from a crocodile, and Captain Pan was headed to London on a gilded sailboat. By some miracle, I lasted longer than my little sister. Olia's eyelids had dropped. She started snorting lightly, resting her chin on the side of the bed. I stood up and left Olia's room. I was looking out the window, studying the field, when Mom peeked into my room.
Довольно баловства.
Enough playing
Завтра
around.
первый день в школе.
It's your first day at school
Ложись, тебе
tomorrow.
надо выспаться.
Go to bed. You should sleep properly.
Не хочешь же ты, чтобы тебя все дразнили Соней?
You don't want to be teased for being sleepy, right? Adults think everything is so simple, as if sound sleep would ensure my classmates would like me. I covered myself with a blanket up to my neck and listened to the house humming, to something invisible rustling in the corners. My inner voice had a question for me. Do I want to hear that mysterious flute again? Yes or no? Maybe it's just a part of growing up and I can't fully understand my own desires. The forest wailed behind the barrier that was my walls. Some ethereal entity wandered the fields. Branches shook as if calling for me. The wind howled on in the night. My thoughts were like annoying flies that entered my head before becoming weak and tangled. I didn't notice how I fell into slumber. True Detective 1, you examined all the objects in episode 1. Okay. It has come, after all. The day I feared the most. The first day of a new school term. Episode 2, Time to Play with You. I wonder if this, I mean, they're doing the play on words with school. I'm wondering, though, if this is an escalation. The things, the imaginary things outside become more forward and contact the kids more frequently or approach the kids more frequently and things start getting scarier. That in fairness, that first episode wasn't, there was a couple places where it was like slightly scary or like creepy, like kind of that feeling of potential dread from the kids or whatever, but it wasn't really scary at all, right? But that was also just the opening of the game, so. New school, new teachers, and most importantly, new classmates, who I always have trouble connecting with. Like most other kids with glasses, probably, I forced myself to get out of my warm bed. Dad would usually drive me to my old school, but this morning, the bedroom of my parents was silent. Did they sleep in? Maybe it was a good thing. I didn't want to get the daddy's boy reputation from day one. My parents were probably still tucked in, dreaming about the good old days, when everything was so simple and easy. Sweet dreams, even if far removed from reality. I silently sneaked out to the first floor so I wouldn't wake up anybody, especially the peacefully sleeping Olya. I did my best to step on the middle of every floorboard. I used to play like this, even in our old apartment. If my soles touched the space between floorboards, it counted as stepping into lava. The clock was spurring me on with its hands. I need to hurry. Faster. Faster. I was too fast, so I needed to circle the hallway once again. Boiling lava was bursting out of the cracks between floorboards. I needed to watch my step to survive at any cost. Hippity hop like a frog jumping on molehills, like a fearful bunny in a grove full of wolves. I made a sandwich in the kitchen, shoved it down my throat, drank it down with cold tea. My appetite was as good as of someone being led up the scaffold toward a guillotine. I lowered my gaze and saw that one of my feet was standing on 2 floorboards at the same time. Burnt to a crisp, huh? I moved my foot, Disgusting little snakes writhed in my belly. The fear of getting hit and being called nasty names. The clock clicked. I need to go. It was dark outside, fitting for an early winter morning. This darkness never fully left the houses around here. I took my time tying my shoes, buttoning up the puffy down jacket, trying to delay my unpleasant exit into the semi-dark, into the unnerving unknown. I rubbed my glasses for good luck, though I couldn't remember a single time these thick pieces of glass actually brought me any good fortune. The sky was akin to a giant bruise. On the east side of it, a black cloud was swelling up. It kicked up, it licked up stars from the sky and extinguished the rising sun. Darkness was plastered all over the treetops. The cautious cries of birds got tangled up in the thicket. I locked the front door with a long key that I wore around my neck. My parents made me wear this noose, afraid that I, being a total klutz that I am, could lose the key otherwise. The wind wheezed on the other side of the gate and invited me into my new life toward dubious adventures, and tagged alone like an old buddy pushing me in the back. Tagged alone, okay. Wide shadows the pines threw out covered a third of the clearing. Upon reaching the edge of the forest, I hid my nose in the coat's collar. I was squeezing through the thin fire break, my hair ruffled up and my back hunched over. Tall trees stood on both sides of the tiny trail. This is right around where we grabbed that glove. On that one screen. Maybe it's just they just reused the same drawing but like a darker version of it or something. No, you wouldn't make it darker though, right? Interesting. So Anton, our character, was out here during the day. That's when we grabbed that mitten. And the mitten was hanging right here. And it was daytime. So it's interesting, we're going through exactly the same spot where the mitten was hanging. Tall trees stood on both sides of the tiny trail. The snowy blanket rustled under my feet, and the canopy of intertwined branches above my head cut me off from the already sparse starlight. The night had no plans of moving away from the forest. In this darkness, trees reminded me of shaggy old women that smelled of burial earth. Their trunks turned into cracked, wrinkled faces with holes in the middle as their mouths. If I lost focus even for a moment, mold-covered witches would drag me into the forest's depths. That's kind of like in The Hobbit, or not in The Hobbit, in The Lord of the Rings, I should say. When they go into not Fangorn Forest, that's later, into, I don't remember the name now. Why can I not remember the name? The forest that's on the border of the Shire. Anyway, when they go there, the forest trees are alive. Anyway, okay. So if I lost focus even for a moment, mold-covered witches would drag me into the forest's depths. Then my parents would be walking around these parts, screaming my name. But the dead can't answer the living. Ooh, or can they? Was that supposed to be the witch? I think that was supposed to be the witch. And then those are the dancing animals. A sense of panic was growing in my chest. I was fine with Dad carrying me into the school in his hands by now if it saved me from watching the darkness rise up in the ravines like black dough. It felt like someone jumped into the bushes behind me, so I turned around. As soon as I started walking faster, I heard the snow squeak behind me. Squeak, probably crunch, I think, is what we would say in English. Remember, this is originally, I believe, a Polish developer. So English is not the first language. This is translated, and so there's some imperfections in some of the translations. It's really good translation overall. Just occasional things. Snow doesn't squeak. Not really. I can't think of a single instance I've ever heard snow squeak. Squeak is something like what a mouse does, or if you have wet feet on like wood, like wood floor, they might squeak as they go along or something. That's not really what snow does, but that's okay. We'd say crunch. Anyway, as soon as I started walking faster, I heard the snow squeak behind me, or crunch behind me. The forest took a deep breath with its giant lungs. The windfall cracked. The wind and the birds were left behind in the field. Now I could only hear the forest creak. I walked, listening closely, and the unseen presence grew stronger. As if someone was following me, trying to match the pace of my footsteps. I turned my head so fast it made my neck crunch. My neck crack. A tiny trail behind me disappeared into the darkness. Oh, there you go. You can see just to the side of my webcam on the stream the trail. Tree branches overlapped, forming a natural
Есть
tunnel.
здесь кто?
Who's there? The question escaped my lips and dissolved into the unending creaking sound of the wooden idols, the pines around me. Why did I think going through the forest alone was a good idea? I'm either going mad, or someone had intentionally lured me away from home. Distant lights granted me a smidgen of hope. A country road! I ran there as fast as I could, as if afraid that the trail will shrink. Clawed hands will grip me by the shoulders, turn me around, and make me look at the faces of hungry forest denizens. In the end, nobody stopped me. I almost flew to the decrepit wooden bridge, disbelieving my luck. The bridge's supports bathed in a spring, tarry, and ice cold. So that's just a spring. It looks, I guess. I was thinking it was a river, but I guess we're saying it's small enough. It's just a spring. Okay. I put my hands on my knees and looked up at the forest. Then snorted, trying to calm my breathing. The thicket was pretending to be asleep. It looked peaceful, lifeless. The remaining part of my commute lied through a snow-laden road, illuminated by sparse lamplights. I chased away bad thoughts and ran as fast as I could, from one circle of light to another, seeking protection from electric lamps. Just like in that game where you need to be the first to proclaim, "I'm protected!" Tag. Yeah, a kid's game where one player needs to tag other players by touching them with their hand, making them it. In certain zones, normally called the ghoul, players can stay safe from tagging. What did we call that when I was growing up as a kid? We called that, I don't remember calling that the ghoul, but we had an area like that, like a safe zone. I think we just called it safe zone where I'm from. But you had like a small, it wasn't much, but there'd be maybe a tree you could hold, you could put your hand on, and then you were safe from getting tagged. So, just like in that game, Tag, where you need to be the first to proclaim, "I'm protected." It's just in this case that protection was flimsy at best, with darkness writhing outside its bounds. Then, I noticed something remarkably eerie. In a place where the light from an inclined lamp couldn't reach, a hairy, crooked shadow came alive with a guttural roar. It almost felt like its features deterred light. Its unnatural pose instilled fear. My eyes almost popped out of their sockets as I just stood there, blinking, trying to chase away that illusion. But the shadow didn't disappear and even got closer. My insides were gripped by horror. I stepped back and almost fell into a snow pile. The black silhouette, on the other hand, straightened up and addressed me in a sweet voice.
Чего крадешься? Душу мою украсть хочешь?
Sneaking around, huh? Trying to steal my soul? Words got stuck in my throat. Who could be talking in such a silky voice here, between the forest and the dormant village?
Чего молчишь, несмышленыш?
Will you say something, dummy?
Язык вырвали?
A cat got your tongue.
Слушай,
All
я
right.
тебе еще и нос откушу.
I'll bite off your nose then.
Будешь знать, как совать его в чужие дела.
That'll teach you not to poke it in places it doesn't belong. A girl stood before me, judging from the voice and the silhouette. But I couldn't even reprimand myself for getting scared by a girl before noticing a gaping mouth under her hood with something dangerously shiny inside. I was stunned. From the cavity of her hood, frighteningly real fox face was staring straight at me. It's just her jaws weren't moving and her eyes weren't blinking. A mask. It's just a girl with a fox mask on. At least I wanted to think that. After a surprise like that, a nervous smile involuntarily crept onto my
А
face.
я
I was
просто в
just
школу иду, а тут ты...
going to school, and then
Что
you...
я?
What about me?
Никогда не видел, как лиса собаку кормит.
Never seen a fox feed a dog. And indeed, there was a small dog circling the girl's legs. One of the strays that were chasing me yesterday, probably.
Извини, я не хотел.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. After hearing my voice, the dog whimpered, lowered its ears, sniffed me out, and then started wagging its tail. I guess I still smelled of bologna that I ate for breakfast. I was shifting my gaze back and forth from the dog to the girl. She didn't seem scary anymore, just weird.
Значит, не хотел. Ну-ну.
So, you didn't mean to, huh?
Как тебя зовут?
What's your name?
Меня Антон,
I'm
а
Anton.
тебя?
And
А
you?
меня нет.
And I'm not. She's weird. Definitely has a couple screws loose. But she has a nice voice. My astonishment turned into a mix of happiness and relief. This girl I didn't know was definitely human, if a bit eccentric. I was also a bit angry at myself. This foxy girl was walking through the darkness without problem, and I shuddered from every little sound. I could just walk away, but this girl had piqued my interest. The next time a police officer asks me about my friends at the new place, I'll tell them that I befriended a talking
Ты
fox.
здесь живешь?
Do you live around
В
here?
поселке?
In the village. The girl giggled and purred. She spun around so hard the hem of her coat lifted up.
Нет, глупый.
No, dummy.
Лисы не живут в поселках.
Foxes don't live in villages.
Хочешь сказать, ты живешь в лесу?
So you live in the forest then? Or no, so you live in the forest then?
Из какой норы ты вылез?
Have you been living under a rock?
Конечно.
It's
Лисам
obvious that
среди
foxes
людей
can't
не
survive
выжить.
anywhere near humans. Good day, Monmouth. So I'm really briefly going to explain. I explained this to Fofox and Silhouelle earlier in the stream. So I was going to play Song of Horror today. Yeah, I was going to play Song of Horror today. But right after I fixed breakfast, I came out and my monitor had self-turned off again. Like just turned off on its own. So I reset it. I basically used its software on my other monitor and said reset. And so the monitor turned on again, my main monitor. And then, I don't know, maybe 12 hours, no, not 12. Maybe 8 hours later, I was typing for work. And as I was typing, in the middle of typing, it suddenly went black again. And I was thinking to myself, okay, So Song of Horror is permadeath, and I have to do things like timed events. So, like if the heartbeat, you have to calm your heartbeat. You have to, when the white circle gets to the center, you have to hit space. Well, if I can't see when the white circle gets to this middle, my hitting space is going to be timed all badly and get me killed, right? We'll get one of the characters killed. And it's permadeath. So I was like, it's not worth it to try to take the chance. I mean, because it's always possible, too, that there's nothing going on. I'm just wandering around the manor or something, and then it turns off on its own. And so then I reset at that point, or that I don't have to reset at all. But there's the chance, and I didn't want to risk that since it's permadeath, right? So we're doing this tonight, and then during this next week, and we'll do Black Mirror 2 will be the next stream, and then the next stream tomorrow at the same time will be Stasis Bone Totem. And then during this next week, I will take my monitor back and get it exchanged. I'll tell them all the stuff I've done. I've checked the cables. Fox asked me about that earlier. I checked the cables, made sure nothing was loose. I've made sure Windows is never set to sleep. It's not set to low power mode, none of that stuff. Done everything I could think of to do, and I cannot get it to stop turning off just randomly. And it's not that it's overheating, because sometimes it'll turn off, but I'll feel the monitor. The monitor does not feel hot at all. And then when I hit reset, it turns back on. And then it just stays on for hours and hours and hours, or days even. So it's not overheating when it does that, because otherwise it would be still hot and it would turn off quickly again, right? It doesn't. So there's this big, it's a big thing. It's just, I think it's just the monitor is faulty. So I'm going to go and get exchanged this next week. So next week at this time, we will be doing Song of Horror. So also, I'll put this in Discord as well, just as a reminder for everybody. But I will be streaming the rest of this weekend, and I will be streaming next weekend also. So this weekend and next weekend, both I stream. But the weekend right before Christmas, so the 22nd and 23rd, and also the weekend right before New Year's, 29th and 30th, those 2 weekends I will be away visiting family. So a QLED or OLED monitor? Yeah, maybe. I mainly was going for resolution. Yeah, the cost. Yeah, it's true. No, it is. But I mainly got this one for resolution, and at the time I got it, it was less expensive than it normally, or well, no, I don't know if it was on sale, but it was not too much. It was only, I think it was only like 350, 400 US for a 1440p monitor. It's not bad at all, actually. So, but like I said, I mean, if it's not going to work, it's a problem, right? So either I will get it exchanged, or they'll fix it. I doubt they'll fix it, but they'll fix it, or they'll get it exchanged. And so next weekend I can stream like normal. Anyway, so the weekend of the 22nd and 23rd, and then also the 29th and 30th, both of those 2 weekends I will not be streaming. I will be away with family for the holidays. So, just FYI. And like I said, I'll put that in Discord too, so people don't forget. And I think I'll put a message on YouTube, on my community tab, on my YouTube channel, and on my Odyssey channel. I'll pin it to the top so people can see that I'm away during that time. 5K. They have 5K monitors now? Well, I mean, it makes sense. Technology continues to march forward, so I guess it makes sense that we would end up with that. Yeah. Anyway, so just so you know, that's why we're where we are. We're doing Tiny Bunny, because I figured if suddenly things go dark while I'm playing Tiny Bunny, I just stop reading. I go over to my other monitor where the streaming software is, where I see chat and stuff, and I reset the monitor from there, like right click on the desktop basically, and reset the monitor setting from there. Monitor comes back on, and then I keep reading, right? There's no risk of suddenly somebody's going to get killed. Now, the permadeath was the worst aspect for Song of Horror. I also thought about, well, I could just do another one, but I thought if I'm in the middle of something with Lunacy St. Rhodes, or in the middle of something with Amnesia the Bunker, right, that's going to be potentially a problem too, right? I mean, it won't be permadeath, but I could be like making nice progress. Maybe I have a sequence, like a cutscene or something, not a cutscene, but like a short sequence where I have to just keep running, and then duck into a room or something. And I could make it. I'm making good progress, and then suddenly the monitor goes black, and now I can't see where I need to turn, so I get killed. It's not as bad as in Song of Horror, but anyway, you get the idea. So this is something where if it turns off, it's not really all that bad. Same thing with Black Mirror 2, right? And then also same thing with Status Bone Totem. The only thing I could see is if Status Bone Totem, if it goes black while there's a cutscene. But the nice thing with that is that over here on this side monitor over here that I use, where I see stream chat and stuff, like right now, with you see my head turned to the side, I'm looking at that side monitor where stream chat is and stuff. If there's a cutscene, I will still see whatever the not my monitor, right, but the graphics card is trying to show. That will show up in stream, like on stream. So you guys should not get the stream to cut out, and I should be able to look and watch the cutscene happen, right? So there's that. But trying to do any kind of timed events or similar, looking at my stream software, I don't think I could do it accurately. So anyway. All right. So summary, since you showed up a little bit, some of you showed up a little bit late, some later or whatever than others. So if you did not see it from Halloween, basically we play a boy named Anton. He's probably like 10 or something. He's got a younger sister, Olya. She's probably like 7. And she's scared. They basically, their family moved from a different place. I don't remember where, but some other nicer place. They moved to this kind of more like a farmhouse out in the middle of, basically in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there are other neighbors around, but it's the kind of thing where you own several acres or hectares of property. And so your neighbor is, a couple kilometers away from you, or a mile away from you, something like that. So you have neighbors, but they're not right next door to you. Anyway, and so you have these big fields and forests in between you and your neighbors. And so Olya's scared that supposedly there's this like scary owl comes and tries to visit her at night. So when it gets to twilight, she shuts her curtains so that she doesn't have to see the owl. So then she can avoid looking at it and having it see her and stuff. And Anton has had his own bit of scared instances. He looked outside his bedroom window and saw it, like a bunch of, he initially thought they were like werewolves or something, or similar, maybe skinwalkers or something, dancing around beneath the pale moonlight. And they noticed him, and they started started running toward his house. And he got scared, so he shut the curtains really fast, got into bed, tried to sleep, thought he heard the noises and stuff. Anyway, and he got spooked, but the next day he went out against his mom's instructions. He went out anyway, outside, over toward the forest, because the police had come and said there was a boy missing. Vova, V-O-V-A, was I think the latest in a series of a few children who've gone missing. So in any case, Vova was missing. And so Anton, our character, was like, well, let's go, see if we can figure out what's going on. Maybe we can find Vova, and then we'll rescue Vova, and we'll also get money for the reward and stuff. So he wants to help out his family, right? His parents are having a rough spot, and they argue a lot and stuff. So he's trying to help make things easier and everything. Anyway, plus he's curious. So he goes out to the forest, or he goes out toward the forest. And then as he gets close to the forest, he hears like these spooky noises and sees these shadows and things. I had him grab a mitten from a tree and then run with the mitten. Run back to his house. He thought he was getting chased by animals, but he made it back to his house. Despite that, nobody really, like his mom didn't really, believe him. She believed he was scared, but she didn't believe him that he saw anything outside. Anyway, and so then Anton and Olya watched Peter Pan together that night. So then in the morning, he got up early, trying not to wake anybody up because he had to go to school. He had to walk. So he got up early and left the house, and he got really scared in the forest and stuff. And then he ran into this girl who, it looks like it's just a human girl. She's wearing a fox mask. And she's been teasing him and stuff. So that's basically where we are. It's obvious that foxes can't survive anywhere near humans. As long as they're foxes. Her jokes were also weird. Just like her carnival mask. Papier-mâché with fur glued onto it. A dog reminded us of his existence with a loud bark. I unfastened my backpack. Dad would sometimes throw food in there without my knowledge. Cookies, apples, or even my favorite crab sticks. He called it a gift from the bunny. Treat from the bunny. The uneaten part of a business lunch or a treat specifically bought for children. Parents would tell their children that a bunny asked them to deliver said treat, but it could also be any other animal, a squirrel or a bear, for example. The stray strolled toward me with mincing footsteps, with a pleading look in its eyes. The fox did definitely treat it to something, but it was probably still hungry.
Зачем ты так вырядилась с утра пораньше?
Why are you dressed like this so early in the morning?
На утренник идешь?
Going to a costume party. The girl shrugged, throwing silvery snowflakes off her nose, and her human form along with them, turning into a genuine beast. Look at her fingers, at least in her left hand, much more beast-like. Interesting. That's cool. A real fox, agile, cunning, dangerous. Notice also the eyes. You cannot see her eyes anymore. It's just black where her eyes would have been. A moment of hesitation, and you'll be ripped to shreds. She'll tear you up and gulp you down without breaking a sweat. Actually, I kind of like this shot here. I'm going to save this here because I like this moment. This is kind of a cool part of this so far. Okay. I couldn't help but just stand there as a stamp until I heard her calm, melodic laughter hidden underneath the beastly mask.
Видел бы ты свою маску,
I,
сладенький.
I wish you could have seen your own mask, sweetie. Sweet. Did she say sweetie? I got embarrassed. Went red up to my hair roots. We'd seen a fox in a zoo once when we went there with Dad, but in patchy fur, was gray and skinny. But this girl was of fiery color and furry, just like in fairy tales. I was still rummaging through my backpack. My fingers that were searching for the dog's treat stumbled upon some soft, crumpled object.
Ничего,
You'll see.
скоро проснутся настоящие звери.
The real beasts will wake up soon.
Спроси-ка лучше у них, где они взяли свои человеческие лица.
You should ask them where they got their human faces. The girl's shadow was dancing in the lamp's light. The dog yapped in agreement. I freaked out and dropped my finding in the snow without getting a proper chance to examine it. Cold wind instantly covered the hole it created with snow. The dog rushed to dig it out, wanting to get its treat. And the fox just snorted. Now I was so embarrassed I wanted to sink through the snow. It was still dark outside of the electric circle. On the contrary, the darkness seemed even more thick. All neighboring houses were sleeping deeply in its inkiness. I did my best to continue the conversation with a weird girl I didn't
Так
know.
ты в школу идешь?
So, are you going to school?
Ах, ну какой же дурачок!
Oh my, you're a real dummy.
Так ничего и не понял.
Don't you get it? Well, I was trying to be friendly. She can't stop mocking me. Calling me a dummy and all. I should have just moved along without paying any attention to this weirdo and her
А ты
stupid
чего
dog.
обзываешься?
Why are you so mean?
Не хочешь отвечать, и пожалуйста.
Don't answer if you don't want to.
Никто не требует.
It's not like I care. Still, something froze me in place, tugged me toward the dark figure. A mysterious appearance, her voice that was velvety and just languid enough. I was intrigued and excited. I watched her as people watch fires burn.
Ой, да не дуйся.
Ugh, stop pouting.
Гляди-ка лучше.
Look
Ты
here.
нравишься Жульке.
Julka took a liking to you. The dog was digging through the snow with sharp movements, snoring loudly. The fox turned around and looked at the windows of a nearby house, and its timbered front through the white mist. The tip of her fake nose was shining under the lamp's light.
И не только ей.
And maybe someone else, too. I went red again, like a boiled crayfish this time. Is she talking about herself, or someone else? I hoped that the semi-dark would be able to hide my embarrassment from the girl. I cleared my throat before asking,
А кому еще я нравлюсь?
And who's that person? I waited, counting my heartbeat. The fox didn't reply. Her sly stare was scanning the frosty patterns of someone's windows. She was reading them like a glass book. I wonder what she can see in those winter paintings. The stray stopped rummaging through the snow. I guess that's his backpack. With the strap on the side, it kind of looks like a mitten. And the reason I point that out is because earlier a mitten was important in the story a little bit. Interesting. Okay. It ran to me, holding my object in her jaws. Oh, it was. It drops it, I guess, or something. That's not the pack. That is the mitten. A mitten. Could it be the one I found in the forest? What is it doing here? When I looked closer, I realized that it was just my mitten. Maybe Mom stuffed it in there when I was asleep? Yeah, he had stashed his mitten in his drawer in his room and did not take it out himself, so. A certain missing boy immediately came to mind. Yeah, Vova, the boy that he was trying to find in the forest. That was his, he thinks that was Vova's mitten.
Эй, ты знаешь что-нибудь про Вову?
Hey, do you know anything about Vova? I imagined the scene. Silhouettes dancing in the clearing. The dance on the night when Vova had disappeared. A boy who, when found, can provide a big reward. Maybe save my family. I remembered my birthday when our parents promised to take me and Olya to Disneyland in Paris. But instead of a long-anticipated gift, they gave me a simple brick game console, visibly embarrassed. That was weird. I think it meant to say they gave me a brick game console. I was easily embarrassed, I think is what it meant. It should have said. I was crying my eyes out back then, demanding to take me to the promised amusement park. Demanding they take me to. Like I said, the first language is not English by this game developer, I think, so it's fine. It's usually really good, so. That was the first time when Mom and Dad had a big fight. My greediness shattered their relationship. If only I could fix everything. Gather everybody I love and take them to Disneyland.
В ночь, когда пропал Вова, я, кажется, видел, как кто-то похожий на тебя плясал под моим окном.
On the night Vova had disappeared, I think I saw someone looking like you dancing under my window. It couldn't be true. But I felt like her mask became even more sly. The fox was sniffing me out.
А что? Ты тогда испугался?
Oh, that got you worried.
За себя или кого-то еще?
For yourself or someone else? Olya! As soon as I thought about my sister, my chest tightened and cold sweat streamed down my spine.
Ну так слушай меня внимательно, мальчик по имени Антон.
Well then, listen closely, a boy named Anton.
Это большой и страшный лес.
This is a big and scary forest. The fox girl stepped forward menacingly.
И я не единственный его обитатель.
And I'm not its only tenant.
Другие звери уже знают о тебе.
The other beasts already know about you.
Берегись нас. Этой ночью мы опять придем.
Beware. We'll come again tonight. I shouldn't have talked to this evil in child form, I thought, panicking.
Пока ты со своей семьей будешь спать, подкрадемся близко-близко и станцуем.
When you and your parents will be fast asleep, we'll sneak really close and dance.
Макарену!
Macarena!
Чё?
Huh?
Эй, Макарена!
She's totally teasing him again. That's awesome.
У тебя прямо челюсть отвисла, Антоша!
Look at you. Your mouth is agape, Antosha.
Видел он меня ночью у своего окна. Ага, как же!
He saw me near his window at night. Yeah, right.
Ты случаем не местный дурачок, нет?
Are you by any chance a dimwit?
Меня не отпускают гулять так поздно.
Nobody would let me go outside that late.
Здесь, знаешь ли, дети пропадают.
Children go missing here, you know. I touched the plastic frame of my glasses, puzzled by her silly joke. She got me scared to death.
Ой, да не тереби ты окуляры свои.
Hey, why don't you stop fondling your
Раньше
glasses?
тоже близорукой была.
I was also nearsighted once.
Лучше послушай меня. Может быть, ума наберешься.
Listen to me and maybe you'll become smarter.
Лисичку как обычно называют?
Remember what they call foxes?
Плутовка?
Cunning? My words seemed to hurt her.
Ох ты ж!
Hey! What did
Ой,
you...
прости.
Sorry? Her laughter was akin to the jingle of a pair of silver bells.
Да шучу я!
Just pulling your leg.
Конечно, плутовкой.
Of course we're cunning.
Если ты ловкий и смелый, не боишься с плутовкой водиться, я, так и быть, помогу разыскать этого Вову.
If you're agile and brave enough to befriend a cunning fox, I'll help you look for your vulva.
Ты же неспроста его ищешь, да?
There's a reason why you're doing it, right? I shrugged in reply. Her insight was alarming.
Знаю, почему дети повадились соваться в наш лес.
I know why children have been swarming our forest recently.
Порой там можно найти много всякого интересного.
Sometimes you can find a lot of interesting stuff there.
Я вот однажды нашла целый сугроб конфет и купалась в нем. Да так что челюсть слиплась.
One day, I saw a huge pile of candy once, and I swam in it until my jaws cramped. Pile of candy? I couldn't deduce whether she believed in what she was saying from the tone of her voice. I showed her another smile, a fake one this time.
Посмотрите-ка, какой недоверчивый.
Boo! So wary!
Ну-ну, а что ты на это скажешь?
Well, what will you say to this then? She held out her hand in a furry mitten. There was an assortment of sweets in her palm. In the city where I used to live, sweets like these were sold at markets or in kiosks. Why is this blinking? Is this just generally? Let me see. Oh no, kiosks. Small container type shops selling a wide assortment of products from bubblegum to vodka, clothing, or even home appliances. These types of shops were popular in the 90s Russia, and more often than not tied to criminal organizations. I saw my favorite bubblegum in a vivid wrapper among the tasty treasures. A familiar name was on it. Turbo. A triangular fox face poked her nose at me.
Угощайся.
Take
У
some.
меня их полные карманы.
My pockets are full of these. Do I trust her? Do I not? I don't know. Yeah, let's take him. Could be a mistake, but if it is, it is. I accepted the treat and catching a whiff of the girl's smell. Fur, fireworks, and citrus. The smell of holidays. My fingers tingled while I was carefully unwrapping the gum. Peachy aroma entered my nostrils, and something else. Something unfamiliar, but pleasant. The fruity cube ended up in my mouth. I started moving my molars, chewing the gum. It tasted like your usual Turkish gum, only my tongue went a bit numb. I couldn't believe my luck after opening the insert. No candy from strangers, even if they can dance Macarena. Listen, you, it's just a VN. It's just a game. Calm down. It's a visual novel. Okay, couldn't believe my luck after opening the insert. Bubblegum inserts games. The type of game where players put bubblegum inserts onto their palm, and try to flip it by throwing it in the air. The player who happens to flip one or more inserts claims them as their prize. Those inserts were often considered as collectibles. Yep, I've seen those before. I looked at a Mercedes-Benz, an extremely rare and hence desirable collector's item for any boy from my previous neighborhood. My heart skipped a beat. I was barely able to tear my eyes off the insert, still stunned.
Это...
This
Теперь
is...
понял, что можно найти в лесу.
Now do you see what can be found in the forest?
Только на твоем месте я бы туда в одиночку не ходила.
Still, I wouldn't go there alone if I were
Тебе
you.
вон от жвачки в забу дыханье сперла.
You get so flustered over simple bubblegum after all.
А представляешь, что с тобой будет, если найдешь чемодан таких фантиков?
Imagine what would happen if you find a travel case worth of these.
Голову напрочь снесет. И пиши пропало.
It'll surely blow your mind. Unusual treats. Just like everything else about her. She's laughing again, yeah. I carefully hid the insert in my bag as if I was putting a rare butterfly in a can. Fox giggled. This is not how things are supposed to go on a Monday morning. Sweet, you accepted the fox's treat achievement. Okay. Who are you? I refrained from asking that question. She wouldn't answer anyway, or she'll just lie. I really wanted to see what's behind her mask. I was becoming more and more sure that underneath it wasn't just a simple young girl.
Может, Вова тоже нашел сугроб сладостей и теперь кувыркается в нем?
What if Volvo also found a snow pile with sweets and is now rolling in it?
Слушай, вдруг он решил остаться в лесу?
Actually, what if he decided to stay in the
Тогда,
forest?
наверное, ему очень холодно в одной варежке.
He must be so cold without his second mitten then. The wind caught her words like smoke from a fire and carried them deep into the darkness, into the creepy thicket. The trees behind me creaked with their bony branches. Now, she might have made a deduction, but our character never told her the mitten was Vova's mitten. It was just a mitten in our bag that fell out. That could have been our mitten. So why does she immediately assume it's Vova's mitten? Interesting.
Или с ним что-то случилось в пути.
Or what if something happened to him along the way?
Что-то страшное.
Something terrible. The forest reacted to her words, becoming alive. It sniffed me out, perking up its ears just like a curious beast. The fox girl pierced me with her eyes again.
Дикие звери?
Wild beasts.
Это, по-твоему, страшно?
You find that scary?
Ну, не знаю.
Well, I don't know.
Не знает.
He doesn't
Уж
know.
не с двоечником ли я подружилась?
Oh my, have I befriended the dunce? I didn't like being called a dunce, yet being friends with her sounded
Я
nice.
хорошист.
My grades are good.
Бел да пушист.
Really now?
Пойдешь со мной? Хорошист Антон.
Will you come with me, good grades Anton?
Найдем твоего Вову и сам его спросишь, что он нашел в этой пуще.
We'll find your Vova, and you'll be able to ask him what he found deep in the forest.
Ведь пока мы вместе, никто тебя в лесу не тронет.
As long as you're with me, nothing can hurt you in the forest.
Вот увидишь.
You'll see. Worms of worry writhed in my belly. Better run, whispered my
Я
mind.
тебе не верю.
I don't believe you.
Ты думаешь, я вру?
Oh, do you take me for a liar?
Ты, пожалуйста. Мне никогда никто не верит.
Whatever. You're just like everyone else. The girl sounded hurt, although I didn't know she was genuine about it. She turned around as if she had immediately lost all interest in me. The gum felt bitter now. I remembered my dad's favorite saying, "Where are your manners, son?" Indeed, this fox was kind
Не
to me.
обижайся, пожалуйста.
Please don't get
Лисы
mad.
бывают и добрыми.
Foxes can also
Ну,
be
как в
nice,
сказках.
like
Мне
in
бы
fairy
только понять,
tales.
что ты за лиса.
I just need to know what kind of fox you are. The girl giggled, hiding the nose of her mask in her hands.
Тогда пойдем со мной в лес, и ты все обо мне узнаешь.
Then follow me into the forest, and you'll get to know me.
Но не сейчас, а когда рассветет. А то тебя, бедного, всего аж потряхивает.
But not right now, when it gets bright. I mean, your whole body is shaking, you poor thing.
То выгляди, кондрашка хватит.
I don't want you to get a stroke.
Ай да, провожу тебя до школы.
Hey, let me accompany you to school. After hearing this, the dog barked in agreement and stopped messing with the mitten. I leaned in, trying to grab the piece of headwear that almost ran away from me.
Ну, если тебе по пути,
Oh, handwear, I think, not headwear. I misread that. Well, if we're going in the same direction, we went toward the school and the lost dawn. Here and there, the lights came on in the windows of houses we passed, as if their inhabitants were sending us warning signs. Silhouettes lurked behind curtains. Dogs let out occasional barks. Spirals of gray smoke rose from chimneys. TVs bustled, and dishes clanged in kitchens. We watched the village slowly rise from its slumber while carefully treading the snowy wheel trails. I walked in the left one, and she took the right one. The dog was following right behind us. I expected the fox to bring up something weird again, but she stayed silent all the way to the school, as if playing with me some game only she was privy to. She would only giggle from time to time when the dog sneezed from the snowflakes that fell on its nose. I was the first to break the
так как
silence.
тебя зовут?
So, what's your name?
А, ну конечно.
Here it comes.
Имена, имена, имена.
Names, names,
Людям
names.
непременно надо вешать ярлыки на все подряд.
You people always need to put labels on everything.
Ну и как бы ты назвал такую лису, как я?
What name would you give a fox like me?
Даже не знаю.
I don't
Но я
know.
читал про лису по имени
But I've
Алиса.
read about Alisa the
А
fox.
что?
You know
Я не
what?
против.
I don't
Пусть
mind.
будет Алиса.
I'll be Alisa. I couldn't understand if she was joking or not. I turned around as if looking for an answer from the dog, from the dark sky devoid of dawn. My silent questions were left unanswered. The school's outline was already in our sight. A giant brick box stuck in the endless night. Lights in its windows did not bode well for me. The warden trees were guarding the schoolyard. Screams, childish laughter, and someone's whistling tore up the silence. I went here with Mom when we just moved, and the place looked cozy at that time. Empty corridors that smelled of polish, puffy snow outside. Second time I came alone to get the books and just kept on imagining my peers rolling down the railings, grade schoolers running to the library, and teachers marching down the corridor with the air of self-importance around them. High schoolers were smoking at the entrance, in track pants and wool caps perched on their foreheads. Their appearance destroyed the last of hopes for a cozy school. Their stingy eyes, like eyes that don't want to spend a lot of money? I'm not sure what that means exactly. Must be an alternate definition. Let me see what that means. Hang on a second here. Yeah, it's just like small. So probably like eyes that don't reveal a lot. Maybe in that sense they're stingy. Their stingy eyes and the teeth yellow from nicotine. Their smirks. All of it had the same gloomy effect as the cloudy winter morning. Absorbed by my thoughts, I completely forgot about my companion.
После уроков жду тебя на заднем дворе,
I'll wait for you at the backyard after school,
возле повешенного.
near the hanged man.
Возле кого?
Near what? She just ignored my
Не
question.
опаздывай.
Don't be late. I hesitated. Blowing hot and cold again, Mom always said. Or Mom always said that when I would have trouble choosing between two options. Thinking about Mom helped me
Я после
reply.
школы сразу домой.
I'm going straight home after school.
Эх, Антоша, Антоша, это я тебя так просто отпустила.
Well, Antosha, I'm going to let you off the hook.
Другие же незаметно подкрадутся со своими улыбочками и вцепятся. Клещами не оторвешь.
But the others will creep up on you with their smiles and sink their teeth into you. Won't be able to shake them off as easily.
Попомни мои слова.
Remember my words. Fox opened her mouth in a wide yawn. What kind of trick is this? Someone running in the distance called out my name. I instinctively turned around. A huge snowball whizzed past my shoulder and hit the dog. Aww. Dogs don't understand you're playing. They don't like getting hit suddenly. It whimpered and ran toward the spring. The darkness devoured it. The fox girl was also nowhere to be seen. She dissolved into frosty air. Or was she hiding in my shadow? I gulped and swallowed the gum. Unlucky. After taking a deep breath, I went toward the school, toward the cutlets and dough, toward the light raining down onto the snow. Let's save again here. I think we'll just call that here, I think, tonight. That's good enough for now. That's a good spot. I examine stuff when we get back in the game, and then we'll be good. All right, so that's it for that. I will be, like I said, obviously we'll keep doing Black Mirror 2 tomorrow, and then I will be doing Stasis Bone Totem tomorrow night. So basically 24 hours or 22 hours from now. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. I have really liked the Stasis games, Stasis and Kane, and so far Stasis Bone Totem. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. It's point and click, so you know it's kind of more of that feel of a game. Not super action overall, but it's good. I mean, I do other point and clicks, right? I've done obviously the Black Mirror games and stuff. So anyway, I think that's it. Like I said, I'll try to remember to pin them as comments on YouTube and on Odyssey. And then I'll also post in Discord that the dates that I'll be gone those weekends. So you'll know not to worry about trying to stop by because I won't be around. And then we'll pick up. So we'll do the rest of this weekend, next weekend, and then we'll pick up first weekend in January after that. Thanks for stopping by, Monmouth, Faux Fox, Silhouette. Appreciate the support as always, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm enjoying this visual novel so far. So, anyway, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon. Till next time. Peace.
Poor spider.
This freaking boy. Oh, that's so sad.